You have previously learned to translate a research question into human experience. Translation helps you move from abstract study language into moments participants can actually describe. Now we are going one step deeper. Once you know where the research question lives in human experience, you need to identify the layers inside that experience. This is how you move from, I know what my question is about, to, I know what parts of the experience my interview needs to understand. An experiential layer is one part of the lived experience that your research question needs to understand. It is not a separate topic. It is not a final interview question. It is a dimension of experience that may later become the basis for a sub-question. This matters because qualitative research questions often look simple on the surface. A question may ask how participants experience independence, support, belonging, transition, identity, confidence, or change. But inside those words are multiple parts of lived experience. The main experiential term is usually the word that names what participants are experiencing. In one study, that word might be independence. In another, it might be support, belonging, transition, confidence, identity, or sense-making. That word becomes your starting point. If you do not identify the layers inside that term, your interview can become too thin. You may ask one broad question, receive one broad answer, and assume you have enough. But qualitative depth usually comes from understanding the different parts of the experience, not from asking about the whole experience all at once. Translation opens the door. Experiential layers help you see what is inside the room. They show you which parts of the experience need attention before you begin writing sub-questions. A layer is different from a topic. A topic names what the study is about. A layer names how part of that experience is lived. AI use is a topic. Deciding when to use AI support during a difficult assignment is a layer. Use this quick check. If your layer sounds like a broad noun, it may still be a topic. If it sounds like something participants could describe happening, feeling, deciding, or making meaning from, it is closer to an experiential layer. A simple way to find experiential layers is to use 5 lenses: action, emotion, context and relationship, meaning, and change over time. We are going to practice all 5 here so you can learn the routine, but later you will choose only the layers that fit your study. Each lens asks a different question. Action asks what someone does. Emotion asks what someone feels. Context and relationship ask who or what shapes the experience. Meaning asks how the participant understands the experience. Change over time asks whether the experience shifts. You do not need every layer for every study. The routine is not a checklist to force into your interview. It is a way to discover which parts of the experience matter most for your specific research question. As we walk through the example, listen for the routine. We will begin with the main experiential term, look at it through the 5 lenses, and then narrow toward the layers that seem most useful for the research question. That is the skill you are practicing. Let's return to the research question from the last video. How do learners with dyslexia experience independence when using AI tools during academic tasks? The main experiential term is independence. The question is not only asking whether learners are independent. It is asking how independence is lived. The first lens is action. Ask, what does someone do when this is happening? For independence, learners may start an assignment, break directions into steps, open the AI tool, revise a prompt, compare suggestions, continue after confusion, or decide not to ask for help. This layer matters because experience is not only what someone thinks. It includes what someone does, what they choose not to do, how they move through the task, and what changes as the experience unfolds. If your interview never reaches action, the data may stay too abstract. In planning notes, this layer might sound like moments when learners initiate or continue academic work with or without AI support. Notice that this is not a final interview question. It is a layer of experience the interview may need to explore. The second lens is emotion. Ask, what does someone feel while this is happening? For learners using AI tools, Independence may involve relief, anxiety, frustration, confidence, embarrassment, pride, hesitation, or doubt. This layer matters because emotion often reveals what is at stake in the experience. A learner who says, "I can finally start without panicking," is not only describing tool use. They are revealing how independence is tied to anxiety, relief, and a sense of capability. In planning notes, this layer might sound like emotional responses during moments of task initiation, support use, or independent completion. Again, this is not an interview question yet. It is a direction for what the interview should make visible. The third lens is context and relationship. Ask, who or what shapes the experience? Experiences do not happen in isolation. They are shaped by people, settings, expectations, tools, timing, and task demands. For learners with dyslexia, independence may be shaped by teachers, parents, tutors, peers, classroom rules, assignment type, deadlines, access to AI tools, or whether the learner is working at home or in class. These conditions may change how independence is experienced. This layer matters because the same action can carry different meaning in different contexts. Using AI alone at home may feel private and empowering. Using AI in class while being watched may feel exposed or uncertain. The context changes the experience. In planning notes, this layer might sound like conditions and relationships that make AI-supported independence feel easier, harder, private, dependent, or visible. This layer helps the interview attend to what surrounds the experience. The fourth lens is meaning. Ask, what meaning does the participant make from this experience? This lens asks how participants understand themselves, the support, the task, or the change they are experiencing. A learner may say, "It makes me feel like I can do it myself," or "I still need help, but now I do not have to ask a person." Those statements reveal more than behavior. They show how the participant is interpreting independence, support, privacy, and capability. In planning notes, this layer might sound like meanings learners attach to using AI support, especially around self-trust, independence, dependence, and capability. This layer helps you avoid treating tool use as only a behavior. The fifth lens is change over time. Ask, does the experience shift? Some experiences are not fixed. They develop through repetition, practice, confidence, frustration, or changing support needs. A learner may begin by using AI for every step, then later use it only when stuck. Another may begin with excitement, but later feel uncertain about dependence. Another may move from anxiety to confidence. These shifts matter because they show the experience unfolding. In planning notes, this layer might sound like shifts in how learners use, trust, or interpret AI support over time. This layer helps the interview make room for development rather than treating the experience as a single moment. Now you have a possible layer map before narrowing. For this research question, possible experiential layers include task initiation and persistence, emotional response during support use, context and relationships shaping independence, meanings attached to AI-supported capability, and changes in confidence or dependence over time. You would not automatically turn all of these into sub-questions. First, ask which layers most directly illuminate the phenomenon, tension, and consequence. For this study, you might prioritize action, meaning, and change over time because those layers most directly show how independence is enacted, interpreted, and developed. That does not mean emotion or context do not matter. It means they may support the central layers rather than become separate sub-questions. Narrowing is not erasing. It is deciding what your interview must hold most clearly. Compare that to a weak layer map. AI use, dyslexia, schoolwork, independence. Those are broad topics. They name what the study is about, but they do not show how the experience is lived. A stronger layer map sounds like lived experience. Moments of starting academic work, decisions about when to use AI, feelings during confusion or support, relationships between AI and human help, meanings attached to independence, and shifts in confidence over time. Notice the difference. The weak version lists subjects. The stronger version names parts of experience. If your layers sound like a table of contents, they may still be too broad. If they sound like something participants could describe, you are closer. This step also protects you from vague interview questions. Without layers, you might ask, "Tell me about your experience using AI." That question is open, but it is so broad that the participant may wander. With layers, you know which parts of the experience you need to invite. For example, the layer of task initiation may later become a sub-question about how learners begin academic work when AI is available. The layer of meaning may later become a sub-question about how learners interpret their own capability when using AI support. But do not rush there yet. Right now, the goal is not to write the final question. The goal is to see the structure inside the experience. You are learning what needs to be asked about before you decide exactly how to ask it. Now watch the same routine with a second example. Research question. How do first-year teachers experience support during their transition into the classroom? The main experiential term is support. The question is asking how support is lived during transition. Notice that the same 5 lenses work again. Through the action lens, a teacher may ask for help, attend mentoring meetings, revise lesson plans, manage classroom problems, seek advice after a difficult day, or decide not to ask because they do not want to seem unprepared. Through the emotion lens, support may involve relief, embarrassment, overwhelm, gratitude, loneliness, confidence, or disappointment. A teacher may receive support and still feel unsupported if the emotional experience does not match the formal structure. Through the context and relationship lens, support may be shaped by mentors, administrators, colleagues, students' workload, school culture, observation cycles, or the timing of when help is offered. Formal support and lived support may not feel the same. Through the meaning lens, support might mean being guided, corrected, trusted, protected, monitored, or left alone. The same mentoring structure can mean different things depending on how the teacher experiences it. Through the change-over time lens, a teacher may need concrete instructional help at first, then emotional reassurance later. Another may begin by relying on formal mentoring, but eventually turn to informal peer support. A possible layer map before narrowing might include moments of seeking support, emotional responses to support, formal versus informal support relationships, school conditions shaping support, meanings attached to being supported, and changes in support needs over time. To narrow this map, ask which layers most directly illuminate the tension. If the tension is formal support versus lived support, you might prioritize action, context and relationship, and meaning. Those layers show what support looked like, who shaped it, and how the teacher understood it. That map is not the interview protocol. It is the structure underneath the protocol. It shows what the interview must make room for so the research question can be answered with depth rather than surface-level description. Use a self-check as you build your own layer map. If a layer can be answered with a short factual response, it may be too thin. If it invites a participant to describe a moment, feeling, decision, relationship, meaning, or change, it is more likely to support qualitative depth. For example, mentor support may be too broad. A stronger experiential layer might be moments when mentor support did or did not match what the teacher needed in practice. That version surfaces lived tension, not just the presence of support. Another self-check is alignment. Ask whether the layer helps you understand the phenomenon, tension, or consequence. If it does not help you understand what is happening, where the instability lives, or why it matters, it may be interesting but peripheral. This protects you from collecting unfocused data. A participant may have many meaningful stories. Your job is not to collect every possible story. Your job is to invite the stories that illuminate the experience your study is designed to understand. Now try the practice move with your own study. Write your central research question. Underline the main experiential term. Then ask 5 questions. What does someone do when this is happening? What do they feel? Who or what shapes it? What meaning do they make? Does it change over time? After you list possible layers, choose the ones most central to your research question. You may have 6 or 7 possibilities, but only 3 or 4 may truly matter. Select the layers that best connect to the phenomenon, tension, and consequence. A strong layer map usually sounds like lived experience. It uses language like moments of, decisions about, feelings during, shifts in meanings attached to, or interactions with. That language keeps the layer close to what participants can actually describe. A weak layer map usually sounds like a topic outline. It uses broad labels without action or meaning. Technology, support, school, communication, stress, identity. Those words may be starting points, but they need to be opened into experience. Finding experiential layers is not about making the interview longer. It is about making the interview more purposeful. Layers help you avoid both extremes. Asking one question that is too broad or asking many questions that do not build toward the research question. When you can identify the experiential layers inside your research question, you are no longer guessing what to ask about. You can see the parts of the experience that matter most. At the end of this step, you should be able to say, these are the layers of human experience my research question needs to understand. You are not writing the protocol yet. You are learning what the protocol must be built to hold.